Ladies and gents, boys and girls, we are here. Week number 12 is officially in the books. What a weekend it was. As we have some echo on my end, I apologize. Either way, what a week it was. Tons to get into, tons of storylines. There's chatter, there's rumors, there's upsets. Literally anything and everything you wanted this weekend. We had it in the SEC. And again, we're excited to be coming to you right here live on this Sunday, November the 16th. I'm fired up. Cole the Bear Thompson's fired up. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered's biweekly SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. Like I mentioned, we have got tons to discuss and tons to get into here on this Sunday Fun Day edition, this Sunday reaction, if you will. And we also want to hear from you all, taking your questions, your comments. If you're tuned into us live, thank you so much. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Again, make sure you interact and engage the show. If you're listening via podcast, we appreciate you all as well. Before we get rolling here on this Sunday and talk everything week 12, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you are on YouTube, we are inching ever so close to that 30,000 subscriber mark. We can't do it without your love and support. So again, make sure you go do that. Also, check out our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. This is the Overtime Drive. It is week number 12, or at least week number 12 is in the books, at least. It is Sunday, November the 16th, though. We are reacting to everything that took place, from all of the rumors and everything I heard within a 24 to 36-hour span about where Lane Kiffin is going. He's still the head coach at Ole Miss right now, believe it or not, but it is kind of early in this Sunday, a little bit earlier than normal. Georgia put belt to ass in Athens. We had Oklahoma pulling a big-time upset. Chaos all across the league. In some places we didn't even know we were going to get it. Again, we had the biggest comeback in SEC football history. It's got to be one of the biggest probably in college football history. We had history made, something that never happened before took place. Again, I'm fired up on this Sunday. So much to get into and discuss. I'm Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, a man that was asked about a lot over the weekend in Oxford, Mississippi, Mr. Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. I'm excited, man. I'm fired up. We had a great weekend in Oxford and just really, really pumped to talk about all these games with you. Bears audio in 1. Bears audio in 2.
I hate you, Texas.
There he is.
I hate you, Texas. I hate you so much. I hate you, Steve Sarkisian. I hate everything right now because I have got to deal with everyone in the woodwork, from the great state of Georgia coming and flooding in the comment section. Great pick, bro. Way to go, dude. I can't believe that you're that big of a moron. It's fine. It is what it is. Look, bottom line, Gunnar Stockton. Let's give a round of applause, baby, to Mike Bobo, too, man. I mean, what a classic clinic. Coaching circles around the Longhorns. What a game that we got out in Oxford that you were just at. The greatest comeback to ever exist in the world of college football. And on the opposing sidelines, probably the greatest collapse we've ever seen in college football. Who knew that all we needed was a tweet from Chris Phillips once again to set the tone for a comeback of all comebacks? And then, of course, how about LSU? You get to bowl eligibility. How about Kentucky? You're one game away from being bowl eligible. How about Kewan, Lacy? How about Ahmad Hardy? How about the running back setting the tone in the SEC? What? You know what? Just what a beautiful weekend of the sport, regardless of who you root for, regardless of how things came out on top, regardless of what the playoff stipulation looks like. Just what a great week for college football, dude. Like, this is one to when you look back, you say to yourself, why we love the game. This is why we go out and put ourselves in a position to always be psyched for that next Saturday. What a weekend.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a sleepy Saturday, Cole, but not all Saturdays are built equally, and not all Saturdays deliver the same way that I think one like this one did. Again, so many different storylines, so many different places we could start, but of course we've got to start as we look at week 12. And again, we're going to talk every single game, give our full thoughts, a lot of things outside of the games that are going on right now. We're in that season where it's per sources season, it's rumor season, it's what have you. We got to start with the weekend in Oxford. And I first want to say again, thank you all so much. It was my second time ever visiting Cole, but it felt like the first time all over again because admittedly last year going down there for the Georgia weekend, a little bit of a different vibe. Obviously, that was a year ago. I didn't know some of the people that I know now, so we were able to do a lot of other really, really cool things around the game. Shout out to Kelsey Faris, who without her, the weekend just would have been a shell of what it was. Obviously played a major role in the event we had Friday at the library, which was a massive, massive success. Certainly one of the best bars in the SEC, if not in the entire country when it comes to college towns. Saturday, the pregame on field access, which was incredible. I may or may not have actually had that conversation with Lane Kiffin that I said I did. Nobody will ever know. Nobody can disprove me. No, so getting on the field out there, again, you see the hat, Built Different Fitness, shout out to them. The hospitality, bringing me to the gym, went to their tailgate on Saturday, linked up with them. My guy over at Ole Miss softball, Jamarion, who is one of the not grounds crew, a facilities manager. He's a facilities manager for them. Got to see the $25 million facility that was the Ole Miss softball stadium. That was really, really cool. The content from the weekend was absolutely insane. My guy Jared over at the Velvet Ditch, having us over there to, my God, the crawfish, the catfish with the crawfish etouffee with grits. Game changer. And of course, we had a daiquiri. I feel like Ole Miss was trying to say, hey, Louisiana, hold my beer real quick. Either way, great lunch on Friday. And again, it just rolled in the weekend. The event at the library, like I said, the game itself, the tailgating on the Grove, everything in between. The weekend was a massive success. Again, I can't say thank you enough, and I can't wait for y'all to see the vlog. Again, we got so much great content from the game itself, but of course, all the other stuff outside of the game, the festivities that we did. It was a great party. Obviously, the energy, the electricity, because, Bear, as we move into what happened on the field, Ole Miss got a 34-24 win over Florida. I'll say this, though, Bear. This weekend felt like the game was almost a footnote, really, truly, to the bigger thing. Right, let's get to brass tacks and let's talk about Lane Kiffin. And man, what a fun weekend! Going into the weekend, one of my friends, I would call him a friend of the show, Dan Thompson, who does work for Stadium and Gale. And I will say this, by the way, I'll defend Dan on this front. Dan is not just some guy throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks. He actually is very connected in that community. So I do want to back Dan here. But, Bear, you know as well as I do, one thing that moves the needle more than any is coaching searches. And there's just a lot of stuff flying around right now. Dan comes out, obviously, on throughout this week and is saying he's feeling pretty good about things trending a certain direction. Then he throws out the tweet, hey, make sure you keep your phones on you on Sunday. Keep your phones on you on Sunday, all right? I was also told on Friday, Bear, it was a done deal. Pen had hit paper. Lane Kiffin to Florida. It's done. Saturday morning comes around. I'm told by somebody else in Oxford, local business owner there, hey, here's the number, here's the years, it's done. He's back at Ole Miss. The bottom line is this, folks, nobody knows what this man is doing. Nobody knows, and I don't know that we really learned anything from the weekend about his future. Again, I heard both sides say virtually the same thing within a 24-hour span. Bear, I feel like he's going to be back. I'm far from 100% on it. I am. I'm far from 100%. But I feel like he's going to be back in Oxford. You hate for that to distract from what happened on the field. But that is the bigger storyline. The better news is this. Hey, Ole Miss, congrats. You're in the college ball playoff. You got the 10 wins. Playoff, you're in. You're in. And like Lane said in postgame, we don't want to distract from the players and, distract from what they're doing. But the problem is you are distracting because you haven't, no answer is an answer to a degree, if you will. I want to tell this tale really quickly, Bear, because I was telling people this at the tailgate yesterday and throughout the weekend. Have you heard the tale of the scorpion and the frog?
Yes, everyone has.
Heard this. Okay, so for those who have not heard it, listen, I don't know what Lane Kiffin's going to do. He might stay at Ole Miss. He might go to Florida. He might go to LSU. He might go to the NFL. I have no idea. The only person who knows what Lane Kiffin's going to do is Lane Kiffin. But it's a very cautionary tale no matter who he goes to, where he goes, what have you. So there's a scorpion and a frog on the side of the road. The scorpion's trying to cross the road, but the only way he can do so is he hops on the back of the frog. So he asks the frog, hey, can I hop on your back? Can you get me to safety to the side? The frog says, no, you'll sting me. You're a scorpion. You'll sting me. The scorpion says, no, I won't. I promise. Just let me get on your back. We'll get across. We'll be safe. Everything will be fine. The frog says, no, you'll sting me. The scorpion begs, please, please, I promise I won't sting you. So the frog says, fine. Scorpion hops on his back. They get to the other side of the road. What happens? The scorpion stings the frog. And as the frog is dying, the frog looks at the scorpion and says, how could you do this? You told me you wouldn't sting me. And you know what the scorpion says?
I'm a scorpion.
It's in my nature. It's in my nature. The scorpion in this story, if you haven't figured out, is Lane Kiffin. And the frog right now is Ole Miss. I say all that to say, I don't know what Lane Kiffin's going to do. But you need to know at the end of the day what you're signing up for and who you're signing up with. And until seen otherwise, Lane Kiffin's a scorpion. It's in his nature. It'd be in his nature to make the move and walk away. You got to know who you're getting in bed with when you do it. And you accept that when you sign him. Talked to a lot of Ole Miss folks this weekend. You accepted that when you brought him on. So you live with some of the bad that may come on the back end of this for all of the good you've had. That said, again, he very well might come back to Ole Miss. I have no idea. Bear, it was weird. It was a game that I didn't really – Florida was up at half. I did not feel in doubt they were going to come back and win this game.
Never thought
just because – just because, dude, we've seen this song and dance from Florida already this season, finding ways to listen, we're at a point in the season with all these teams we talk about because the margins are so razor thin in this league. And guess what? The good teams find ways to win games, and the bad teams find ways to lose them. That's just it. That's it. That's what separates these teams. All these teams have talent. Florida has talent, but this version of Florida finds ways to lose. Star of the night, Kewan Lacy. Dude was on a different planet. He was featured on the scoreboard 3 separate times for setting a school record. I think, for rushing yards in a season, rushing touchdowns in a season. Congrats. Dude, this dude went off. 31 for 224, 7.2 a carry. 3 touchdowns. He was just incredible on the night. Again, I give Florida a lot of credit. They're playing their hearts out. They're playing their guts out. Again, you see it. It is a team that has talented players. But at the end of the day, finds ways to lose games. You got to win games like this. If you're on a warpath to the playoff, you got to win games that sometimes you don't bring your A game. We'll talk about another team that did that here in just a second. But Bear, again, bottom line, Ole Miss, college football playoff. And my takeaway from the weekend in Oxford is I know about as much about this Lane Kiffin stuff as I knew going into it. I thought I might learn some things and hear some things, but I heard so much from both sides. I don't think anybody really knows at this point.
I don't think Lane knows what he's doing at this point. And I think that's kind of the biggest selling point at this moment is, hey, head coach doesn't know, you don't know. A source doesn't know, your best friend doesn't know. The person who knows a person who knows a person who said that they know something, they don't know anything. Because I don't think Lane truly knows what's going on. Here's what I will say. There's a lot of people out there that are coming to the conclusion of Lane is now at a point of, we've gone from it being a funny charade. We've gone from it being a moment of where, look at Lane. He's doing Lane things to, okay, now I'm getting a little bit nervous and also I'm getting a little bit pissed off.
Ole Miss fans are very pissed. They're very upset.
We're at a point of where you're saying in a press conference, let's not take this away from the players and let's not distract what's going on that we have here. Well, by not saying anything, you are distracting what's going on here. Let me just make something abundantly clear to anybody who does not know Lane Kiffin. He lives off of this. He absolutely is engulfed in this type of persona. And you want to know what? Any negativity, any positivity, any bit of attention that you are giving him, he is salivating over. It's like whenever we go ahead and we watch people who have bad takes all the time. There's multiple people that work in podcasting, multiple people that work on national radio, people who say that they know the game and they love the game of college football, and they clearly don't. But what they're doing is they're pushing the buttons on you. They're putting you in a position where they're going to say something very moronic, and they know you're going to take the bait. And I tell people this all the time. You want to go ahead and make sure that they don't exist anymore in our space to talk about our game. Don't react to it. Don't go say anything to them. Don't go out and give them the benefit of the doubt or any credit that they're looking for or any admiration. But you know what people do? They have to let their opinion be known. Nope, nope, nope. You're wrong. You're an idiot. You're dumb. I can't believe that you said that. And every single comment that you make and every single YouTube post that you have, guess what? It writes them another check. It keeps them in the spotlight a little bit more. So Lane knows at this point he can do whatever he wants, and people are going to comment on it. Good, bad, indifferent. Florida fans saying, welcome on down, brother. We're so glad that you kicked our ass, so we had a good feeling of what it takes to win with you as our head coach. Ole Miss fans, dude, can you at least make a conversation starter? Are we at this point agreeing to terms, or are we not agreeing to terms? LSU, and here's the crazy part. Lane has so much equity right now and so much of a leash that he can kind of work with. It's kind of mind-boggling. Because let me explain the situation to those who don't understand what's going on. Lane can go to Keith Carter and say, this is what I want. X, Y, Z, A, B, C. All of these are part of the non-negotiables that I need here. On top of the non-negotiables that you've already given me. Like my kids being able to come visit the complex whenever they want. My dog Juice being able to stand on the sidelines. Me being able to fly in my family every other weekend. Like all things that Ole Miss has already agreed to, they now have to double down and say, yep, we're willing to do that again. And if they say no, he gets to take that next offer and go on over to Gainesville and say, all right, they said no. Can you match it? And if they say no, all right, LSU, can you match it? Hey, the NFL, can you match it? State College, Pennsylvania, you want a head coach? You want me to leave the SEC, come to your neck of the woods? Can you match this? He has such leverage over everyone. He's winning the game. That's what it is. So if you don't want to have this continuously be a thing that drives on up and becomes chatter, let it die down. Don't react to it. Lane is still making the decision behind closed doors, but I'll tell you what he is doing. He is relishing in the fact that he has become the public eye of college football because it basically has turned into the LeBron 2.0. Where is Lane going? The decision is on the horizon. Like, that's what we got. Now, as for the game itself, I saw somebody in a multitude of people, and I'm not going to give their names because I don't respect them, so I don't respect you. I don't give out your name. Tweet out, how can someone say you give belt to ass to us when we only won by 10? When you only won by 10? You're right. Ole Miss is not allowed to say that they gave belt to ass to Florida by winning by 10. 3-win program. But when Kewan Lacy averages 8 yards a carry, puts up 224 yards, and very well beats Florida by himself, if he wants to grab the literal belt and go snap it a few times, that man is allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. Because he kicked your ass. Like, single-handedly, Kewan Lacy won this football game for Ole Miss and set them to the college football playoff. He was elusive. He was decisive. Great cutbacks. Physical whenever he made contact. He beat the brakes off of Florida defensive backs, and he stood over them and laughed afterwards. He leads the SEC in rushing touchdowns. He leads the SEC in yards after contact. He leads the SEC in yards per play. And keep in mind, this was a kid that couldn't break on the field last season at Missouri, where Missouri's got a pretty freaking good running back who may be the best running back in the SEC when we're talking about it at the end of the day. Like, just incredible the type of talent that Lane finds and turns into a household name. I saw a comment earlier that if we saw Trinidad Chambliss lead Ole Miss at the start of the season, he'd be leading the SEC in passing yards. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Once again, made some really good decisive throws. Once again, was able to build a great repertoire in the passing attack. 4 different receivers caught at least 3 passes for over 36 yards. 4 different receivers had receptions of over 15 yards downfield. It was an offensive consistent clinic when it needed to be. And the defense did enough after giving up 3 early touchdowns to be able to pull away and guarantee they got a win. Ole Miss is going to the college football playoff. Lane currently has a job with Ole Miss for at least 3 more weeks. They get a bye week to mentally prepare for the Egg Bowl. And now the only question is, who are they hosting in the first round? Because they probably aren't going to Atlanta, but I'm not sure if they really care if they get to go face off against the number 12 seed Tulane or North Texas or Navy at this point, because that almost guarantees them a spot in the Final 8.
Yeah, I will say this. I think Ole Miss fans have a right to be frustrated with Lane right now. I do. Because it feels as if his situation, it is distracting from what the focus should be, which is one of the greatest seasons in Ole Miss football history. Yeah. So, like, I'm not saying, like, you love the guy, but, you know, I love my brothers. I love my sister. I get frustrated with them. You know, you got your siblings. You get frustrated with family. That means you don't love them. Ole Miss folks have got a right to be frustrated with Lane. I just, you know, like, because here's the deal. I can tell you this, by the way, walking away from Oxford. They're not going to let him carry this into past the end of the season. So he's got 2 weeks to get this shit figured out. They're not letting Lane Kiffin hold them in limbo. Like, you're either going to, after the final game, after Mississippi State, you're in the college football playoff. Congrats. You're either going to be our head coach the long term or you're not. And we're going to do this thing without you. So he's got to make a decision at some point if he has not already behind closed doors. It's Lane Kiffin. I fully would expect him. I mean, he's a troll, dude. He's going to roll this thing out in the wackiest way. I was fully expecting him to like go on the Jumbotron and be like, hey, I'm back or something like that. Like that would be such his style. But Ole Miss fans have a right to be frustrated with him. That's all I'll say. They've got a right to. And I saw an article this morning from somebody just talking about, all right, Lane, like these distractions almost cost your team a football game. Like you didn't look as sharp as normal. And it's hard to convince people that this isn't a reason why. Like that this big distraction looming over your football team isn't a reason why. Maybe that's just a convenient excuse, but it doesn't help anything. So I think Ole Miss fans, you got a right to be frustrated, and they're going to make him bear, for lack of a better way of putting it. They're going to make him shit or get off the pot after the last game of the season. You're either going to be with us or you can hit the road and we'll start and get ready for this playoff thing without you.
Problem is that you have to be, and here's why you have to do it that way, because you have to be able to have a contingency plan in motion to land your next head coach.
Yeah.
If he, and again, there are many names that are going to be linked to this job who are going to be linked to other jobs around the world of college football. I can tell you right now, John Summerall would be my first phone call if I was Ole Miss, if Lane Kiffin leaves for Florida or LSU. He just wouldn't. Auburn's going to be going hard for him. You can't wait around for Auburn to land the guy that you think is as good as a fit for your culture because of Lane to want to go ahead and hold out and figure out what was going to be his plan. I haven't really decided at this point. What if Bob Chesney, really, really, really good coach at James Madison, ends up being a guy that is highly sought after? And Ole Miss, Keith Carter looks at what he's been able to build, what he's been able to sustain, how he's been able to recruit, and say, that's the dude that I can put my faith into. Well, he's out of the playoff hunt, and Lane still is in it, and Lane is making it clear, we're going to Florida. I'm going to Florida after this. You're wasting time when Virginia Tech is making phone calls. Potentially NC State is making phone calls. And maybe we could say Florida State is making phone calls and Penn State's making phone calls. And you're now wondering what is going to be the course of action for your program long-term. So it just makes sense that you have to go through it. I have been told, and I don't know how clear this is, there at least has been a vetting process in motion that names they would consider to replace Lane if he does leave. It is a very short list. So they have a good understanding of who they think could come on in and replace the team and keep the same momentum going. It's not a big one. So they have kind of got it narrowed down. So it does feel like if they were to lose Lane, the next motion in action would be pretty quick to go ahead and guarantee that they're still trending upward going into 2026. But again, right now it doesn't matter because Ole Miss is in the college football playoff. They have an opportunity to go 11-1, which also would be another record. It'd be the first 11-win season in program history during the regular season. So again, a lot of things that do benefit a team like Ole Miss to where it's just another checkbox of why the hell would you want to leave the situation that you're in? And I will end on this. Lane has got it made at Ole Miss because of the way they treat him and the way that they're going to continue to treat him. And they did not have to do that for a lot of people, but he's earned that respect. He's earned the right to ask for a little bit more and gain that leverage. But everyone has a breaking point. You can't just sit here and hopefully bank on them saying, well, you know what? I want this, that. Lane, we've given you all that we can. There's not much more we can do. Either accept what we've given you or go somewhere else that can afford you and your luxury lifestyle. But again, I don't think Lane Kiffin actually has an answer at this point. I think the bye week is going to be really beneficial to determine on what his overall stance is.
Yeah, I would say this too. I mean, it's 3 straight 10-win seasons, first time in school history. That's Lane Kiffin. So you're right. He's certainly earned benefit of the doubt. He's earned everything that he's gotten at Oxford and then some. But yeah, at some point you got to make a decision. You are right. This bye week upcoming this week, and I'm sure a lot of progress will be made. There will be a lot of rumors thrown out there. So be careful in these streets. And again, I'm not. I mean, listen, everybody's got their sources and things change. And like I said, like my guy, Dan Thompson, for example, who I mean, millions of views on his posts over the weekend. Everybody kind of waiting to see if it came to fruition. And he had to kind of backpedal a little bit on Sunday. And I know that was a kind of tough look for him. But, I mean, yeah, it's just ever changing, dude. But it's just nobody knows. Nobody really knows. It does sound like, I don't want to say anybody's out, but like I'm not hearing a lot at all on LSU. It does sound like to me it's going to be either Ole Miss or Florida. But you just never know with Lane Kiffin. He's this dude's unpredictable, man. He marches to the beat of his own drum. He does his own thing. This dude could wake up one day and be like, "Yeah, I'm feeling this mood. I'm going to go here." You never know.
And he has everybody wrapped around his finger, paying attention to every single thing that he does.
Yeah. Hey, it feels good to be wanted. He's wanted by everyone. Really quickly, shout out Sierra Clark, who was with us at the library on Friday. Really great stuff. SECT in the building. Sierra says, do you think someone's going to land Schumann, Georgia DC, as head coach?
Does he want to be a head coach? Like, that's the big question. That's what this really comes down to, because he's got it made right now. I think he eventually will take the Brent Venables approach. He'll wait for the job that he can't turn down to go ahead and lockstep his way in, and hopefully be the reason why the team continues to win. But like Brent Venables he bided for the opportunity to get to a place that he knew was special and could not say no to. I think that's going to be Glenn Schumann. If he doesn't view Ole Miss as a dream destination, if he doesn't view Ole Miss as a place to where he can flourish long-term, like I think Florida, if they hired Glenn Schumann, that'd be a hard job for him to turn down. I think Ole Miss is one to where I could see him go. I don't know if he does, but it has to be the right job for Glenn Schumann to leave Oxford. I mean, Athens.
Jeff Langley, BTTS, everybody else asking, yeah, Oxford was incredible. Can't wait for you guys to see the vlog. Again, thank you all so much for the hospitality. Really, really appreciate it. Again, we could spend this entire show talking about it, but we've got a lot of other games to get into. Bear, I want to go ahead and jump into this one and get this one out of the way. South Carolina, Texas A&M.
Oh, good God.
South Carolina jumps out to a 30-3 lead at halftime. 30-3. Teams going into this past weekend. What was the number exactly? 0-286?
0-286.
0-286.
When leading by 27 or more points going into the final 30 minutes of a football game.
0-286.
Since 2004.
Well, folks, since 2004. Well, now you can make that 1-286. And that one being the Texas A&M Aggies. They come all the way back, scored 28 unanswered after a nightmare first half, and win the football game 31-30. And Bear, like I said, I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. It's time to fire Shane Beamer, man. We've reached the end of the road with the Shane Beamer thing. We have. This is not an unpopular take. This is not a just completely out of left field take. I would challenge you to go look at social media for more than 5 minutes. The fan base is done, man. The fan base is done with Shane Beamer. And at some point, you are who you are. And Shane Beamer's not an awful football coach. He's done some great things at South Carolina. Took a broken program. The number one thing I think he did was he fixed the culture. They've had some big wins there. He's beaten Clemson a few times. You know, they had that magical run last year. You can argue should have been in the playoff. They had that magical run with Spencer Rattler beating Tennessee and Clemson in the final 2 games. But it's over. I mean, it's over. And there's nothing to blame for the 30-3 blowing that other than coaching. You cannot blame the players for that. Shane Beamer just is what he is, man. Shane Beamer, for all the good that he's done, he's nothing more than any other coach has been at the University of South Carolina. Dude, he's Will Muschamp all over again. The culture's better. The culture's far better. The results are the same, though. I mean, really, truly, look at the records. Through this many SEC games, Will Muschamp was a game better in SEC play. The overall records, nearly identical. The identities of the football teams, bad offense, good defense, like bad offensive coordinators. It's astonishing he's going to get a 4th OC, which is crazy. And I've told people this, and, you know, if it hurts your feelings, so what? Any school with expectations would have fired him by now. Any one of them that had any real expectations. It really goes to show how bad of a place the program was in when they hired him, because the big selling point on Shane Beamer, Cole, it wasn't his coaching experience. He had never been a coordinator. He had never been a head coach. It was because he wanted to be there, because he loved South Carolina. And I agree, you got to find a guy to take that job that embraces the challenge, embraces it head on. Because, Cole, not only is it not an easy job, and people are going to get triggered by this, but this isn't just coming from me. This is coming from people that I know that have worked in the industry, that know coaches, and this isn't just something I made up. It's viewed as an unwinnable job. What do I mean by that? Who has won there? Lou Holtz, who took a program who went 1-21 over a 2-year period, got him at least to respectability. He then teed it up literally and figuratively for Steve Spurrier to come in, have the greatest run in school history. Those two guys, and then Joe Morrison, respect to him, rest in peace, back in the 80s, which that's a whole other thing. If you don't think the chicken curse exists, by the way, one of the greatest coaches in school history died during his tenure there. I mean, I'm just saying something's awry there. But you think about the guys that have won there, especially recently. Their prowess and their prestige and their pedigree was bigger than the program's mediocre history.
Sure.
That is why they were able to win at the rate that I know Gamecock fans want to win at. Because going 7-5 and 8-4, listen, Eli Drinkwitz made a great point. We live in a world now, it's playoff or bust. You can't just have a good season anymore. You won 9 games last year. It was a good season, but nobody's going to remember it because you didn't make the playoffs. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I know where Gamecock fans want the program to go. Shane Beamer's just shown you who he is. He has been the same guy from day one. And it goes so far beyond the field when I say that. South Carolina fans know exactly what I'm talking about. They're probably going to bring him back next year. They are. They probably will. Barring a loss to Coastal, which at this point, I guess who knows? Maybe that could happen. But what will be done tomorrow probably should have been done today. Probably even should have been done yesterday. He's not the guy, man. You know he's not the guy. It is what it is. They'll probably bounce back next year and win 7 or 8 games, and Shane Beamer will go on this whole victory lap tour of, you know, talking to his haters and acting like how he acts in a press conference. But the problem will still exist. He has not changed through 5 years, and then it all comes to a head in this game where you just get, how do you blow a 27-point lead?
Yeah,
I don't even know how you do that. And they manage to do it. It's just the latest malpractice. Again, I don't think it's too much to say that the Shane Beamer era should be over at South Carolina. And time feels like a flat circle because here I am yet again calling for the job of a head coach at the University of South Carolina. Listen, it's a mediocre program with a mediocre history. It does not mean you cannot win there and win at a pretty high level. But you have to go find someone whose pedigree outweighs the mediocre history. That's the only way. Or for starters, maybe the next guy you hire has actually coached somewhere. He's been a coordinator. He's been a head coach. He's been through the fire. Because, you know, that sweet shit the first couple years where it's like, oh, he's just learning on the job, man. But he loves us. He loves being a Gamecock. Brother, it's year 5, and that shit ain't so sweet no more. Like that don't really fly anymore. People don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear patience in year 5. So, again, I've gone on a long tangent. I wanted to go ahead and get it out there. We can talk Texas A&M. Congrats, Aggies. You're in the playoff, and sometimes you just got to find a way to win games like this. And we're at the point in the season, good teams find ways to win, bad teams find ways to lose. But despite the mediocre history, it is inexcusable what happened Saturday. And this season has been inexcusable for South Carolina. I came in with low expectations, and I picked them to go 7-5, and I was called a buffoon. I was called things much worse than a buffoon by a lot of the Gamecocks fan base. They're going to go 4-8, if not 3-9, with the talent they have on the roster.
Yeah.
Miss me with that. It should be the end of the Shane Beamer era. Any program with any semblance of expectations would fire him. I just don't know that South Carolina is that program because, hey, when you've only won 9 or more games 8 times in a season, when you've only done that 8 times in the history of your program, or won 10 or more games 4 times, I guess that kind of beats you into submission when it comes to expectations and making winning the main thing. Either way, I digress. I'll give it to you, man. I just, to
Look,
me, it's black and white. Shane Beamer needs to be gone. It is what it is.
I won't spend a lot of time because I did yesterday. Just a few things. Number one.
God, how was that reaction, by the way? My Lord. I can't even. Those comments had to be just outrageous.
It was a lot. And it was a lot from both sides for not giving too much credit to Texas A&M and not giving more gusto on South Carolina. Here's the deal. I think that everyone knows at this point, I am very pro Shane Beamer. I have said on this podcast, I have said on multiple interviews, I would be top 5 in terms of guys that let my kid play for. Shane Beamer being that coach. I would. I do believe that he is a good coach. And I do believe that there is still more than meets the eye when it comes to how he's been able to build an identity and a culture that feels like it can be sustainable at a place that is really hard to win at. I stand on that. That being said, you at the end of the first quarter decided to go up to the broadcaster and say, while facing off against the number 3 team in the country, it's not shocking that we're kicking their ass. We did it last season. Remember what happened out in Columbia? We just haven't been playing our best game. This is not. We know that we're able to do this. And you continue to stockpile, and Nick Harbor gets an 80-yard strike, and you force 2 bad interceptions. Thankfully, Bakari Swain, right place, the right time. And you're entering the tunnel with 30 minutes left with a 4-possession lead, basically saying, come and hit me, Aggies. 103 people screaming, come on, come on. Brother, you run your mouth, you better be able to cash that check. I mean, there is no negotiable for that one. If you want to be able to run your mouth at that high of a volume, you better get the knockout punch. Because the only thing it looks like at that standpoint is you're an idiot and you're in over your head. And I can't defend that. I am the biggest pro Shane Beamer, South Carolina. Go bring in an offense coordinator from the outside. Go make sure that you go make some adjustments. Go ahead and throw me when it comes to bringing in transportal players. You throw the season away. All good and dandy. I am all pro that. But when you act like that, and then instead of it, even if you was a close game, 30 to 24, still win by 6, you win the football game. You're allowed to exhale. But you put the wagon so far before the horse. I mean, we're talking 50,000 miles before the horse, and you're galloping your way to the wagon. To have that bad of a second half, that's all coaching. That's it. That's all on you. That's all on spare me with the miscommunications. The play designs in the second half were god-awful. You called a timeout on a 4th and 2, and your best course of action was handing it to Matthew Fuller for a gain of 1 when you needed 2 with your mobile quarterback. Lenore Sellers lost me in the entire second half. He felt like he was playing with house money. And credit to Texas A&M. They put him in a position to where it truly was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They made it work, but my God, you gave it to A&M on a silver platter. And A&M fought and earned that win, but still, you handed it to them. And afterwards, it's just like, oh, I can't believe that was the way that our game happened. And then you find other things to bitch about instead of taking responsibility. I can't. Brother, you got humbled in the most god-awful on national television way to become the greatest comeback in college football history by one team to punch their ticket to the college football playoff. I mean, what more do you want to say? Like, again, if you are a South Carolina fan, I can't argue with you. I can't. You say you want to, what am I supposed to say? Nope, give him another chance. For what? So that's where it is? So that's how we see it happen? Where you allow A&M that could have easily lost this football game and still punch their ticket to the playoff. Nothing was going to change. But to let them come back in and prove that the battered Aggie system is complete and totally dead, to do that, it takes a special type of tomfoolery to have that type of moment. It's a special type of stupidity to allow that stuff to happen. And the only person to blame is you. Because if you decide to go ahead and get too big for your britches and you talk a mad game that you couldn't cash, that your check couldn't cash, that's what you had in the second half. As good as you looked in the first, you looked abysmal in the second. And I don't know if you can beat Coastal Carolina, and I sure as hell don't know if you can beat Clemson. And if you go 3-9, I'm sorry, I can't defend that. The problem is that there's not enough good head coaching candidates that would feel like a true upgrade over Shane Beamer at this point going into this cycle. So you may have to hold out for another season. You may give him a little bit more chances to bring in another offensive coordinator, bring in some more offensive personnel members, get better when it comes to positioning. But I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not ready to say that he's done. I refuse to say that because of my respect for Shane and for how much of a relationship that I have with him and Gamecock Nation. But I completely understand that there are many, many people out in Columbia that would love to see him not get back on that plane. They would have left him in College Station and said, learn a thing or two about how to close a game. Because you have cost us multiple times this year. You've done that. Not even the players. And the players have not been great, but you've done that.
Yeah, I got to admit, the culture's better, but it feels like the end of the Muschamp era a little bit, where they went into 2020. They kept him. Obviously, again, we hit COVID. That was a much different situation, but it was one of those. It was kind of like coming to the Sam Pittman era like this last year. Just like a kind of a dead man walking feeling, or like all the odds are stacked against you type of feeling in the building. That is what it will be. And I think they will bring him back. I do. Again, they lose the Coastal, all bets are off. Because even South Carolina folks have a breaking point. You start losing to teams like that in your state, they will break. I don't know, Cole, that a loss to Clemson, honestly, will do it. I don't think so. Man, I thought they would fall short of the expectations everybody put on them, but to potentially go 4-8.
That's even lower than low.
It's insane. To not make a bowl game with Lenoris Sellers as your quarterback is actually crazy to me.
Now, let's move on to Texas A&M side. For as bad as you looked in this first half, my God, what a performance in the second. Yeah. I mean, Marcel Reed, if you want to talk about having a Heisman moment, yeah, you had to create it by throwing 2 god-awful interceptions, but you had it in the second half. I mean, 4 straight drives, 4 straight touchdowns, the ability to continue to win without trying to find the ability to be able to win without getting the ball to your number 1 wide receiver, with Mario Craver being sidelined, Isaiah Williams stepping on up, Astro Roman Bethel stepping on up. I mean, what we just witnessed, having E.J. Smith be the guy to get the touchdown, it shows you how different this culture is. It shows you just how unique and how completely 180 things have changed in favor of Mike Elko. And here's the thing. This was a Mike Elko win. I will die on this thing. This was not a Texas A&M win. This was a Mike Elko win because I have watched Texas A&M teams have passed underneath Mike Sherman, underneath Kevin Sumlin, underneath Jimbo Fisher, that maybe would score a touchdown or two being down by 27. They wouldn't fight their way all the way back. They just wouldn't. They wouldn't have the drive. They wouldn't have the grit. They wouldn't have the heart. They wouldn't have the fight. They wouldn't have the determination. The way that Kirby goes about talking to his players, you come here, you better be ready to hit. You come here, you better be ready to get your knocked on your ass. That's Mike Elko. And honestly, that's what you get in most defensive coaches. They don't care about the flash. They don't care about the pizzazz. They care about when the going gets tough, who's going to deliver that punch and says, I ain't hear no bell. Let's keep it going. Another round. Strike me on up. And that was the culture that we saw from Texas A&M. That was the culture that we saw from the second half of the Aggies. That's why they're going to the college football playoff. And I'll tell you, this team's built different, dude. This team is beyond built different. I don't want to hear any more of battered Aggie syndrome. I don't want to hear any more of just wait till the other shoe drops. Where's the other shoe going to drop? You had them on the ropes and you said, nope, not today, Satan. Not today, college football, Satan. I ain't done with you just yet. And now they're just 4 quarters away from being 11-0. And they're 8 quarters away from being undefeated and going to the SEC championship.
You definitely saw, Bear, in that first half, a lot of college football Twitter and just people in general ready to dunk on A&M. There's a lot of people ready to bury them. Talking about the schedule and the difficulty of it, what have you. Listen, obviously that first half is about as ugly as it's going to get, but sometimes you got to find a way to win a weird game. This league, if you're going to go undefeated and go undefeated in this league, you're going to have at least one that's like that. That's uncomfortable. That doesn't make sense. That you have to come from behind. That you have to win late, whatever it is. So you have to find a way to win it. And I mean, give them credit, man. They did. I mean, you don't fault A&M for taking advantage of South Carolina's incompetence. And also, too, they had to go take it. I mean, they went out and took it. So
again, I'm not saying that South Carolina didn't hand it to you a little bit on a silver platter, but I'll tell you what, you took it and they gave you a couple of opportunities. Also, here's what I can appreciate. They blew through all of their mulligans in the first 30 minutes. They didn't miss a freaking beat the second 30.
Yeah.
That's the difference in this game. To me, that truly is the difference. Being able to realize we have no margin for error. We're not going to give a single opportunity for us to have a mistake. Beautiful game plan, beautiful execution. It's why the Aggies are going to the college football playoff. Congratulations, 12th man. Congratulations. Because you earned that win, in my opinion, and you earned your spot in the playoff, dude. I can't even argue with you.
Congrats, Aggies. You deserve it. You deserve it. 31-31 and 286. What a
wild.
You never know what you're going to get in this league on a week-in, week-out basis. Bear, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to jump to a game that you're probably not expecting. I promise we're going to get into Georgia, Texas. That was at least tabbed the game of the weekend. But, man, I want to get in this Oklahoma-Bama game, dude. This Oklahoma-Alabama game. 23-21, the Sooners take down the Crimson Tide. They handed Kalen DeBoer his first loss at Bryant-Denny. First loss, black hoodie and all. Black hoodie and all. Brent Venables and company said, we don't give a damn. We're going to come in your house. We're going to take you turkey. We're going to walk out with it, and you're going to have to just watch us do it. So Oklahoma defensively, Bear, the story here. I can see it from both sides. If you're Oklahoma, if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're saying front seven, relentless. We forced Ty Simpson into mistakes. We made big plays, and we had to, and we did just enough. Go in, get the win. No such thing as a bad road win. And I'd agree with all of that. I also agree with and almost kind of, dare I say, empathize with the Bama perspective that if you're a Bama fan, Bear, don't you – I mean, it's hard for you probably to not look at that game and say, we gave it to them. We flat out gave it to them. Like, we lost that game by 2, and we had multiple turnovers, and we had a pick 6. We handed them the football game. Now, I don't think that's necessarily the right way to look at it, but if you are a Bama fan, I'm sure there's a lot of Bama fans that woke up today saying that. How did we lose this football game? Here's what I'll say. My boys Travis Davidson, Tyler McComas, all the great Sooners, I'm here to eat crow. I've been doubting Oklahoma. We both have. Doubting them. Back-to-back road wins over ranked teams. It's not necessarily pretty or sexy, but again, winning in this league, who gives a damn? Just it's a math class, not an art class. Just find a way. Obviously, again, Bear, the start to the game you have with the field goal, the pick 6, you take all of them early. Bama jabs back, obviously, but man, just some costly turnovers by Alabama. I mean, really. And again, you got to give credit because here's the thing. It's like having a great changeup or having a cutter. Oklahoma's front seven is the great equalizer.
Yep.
They're the great equalizer. They can flip a game on its head like that. They can steal a game like that because all those plays that were made, that's where it all started. Ty Simpson was uncomfortable. They hit him. They rattled him. They moved him. They got after him, and it forced him into some mistakes. And I said going into that, give credit. Again, I talked with Trav and them. Went on the radio hit with them. I said, that's going to be the key. They've got to rattle Ty Simpson and do what LSU couldn't do, which is they rattled him, but they couldn't get the ball off of him. Oklahoma got the ball off of him. Turnovers. They just did things you can't do and beat a really good team. And it's almost like, Bear, when it comes to the college football playoff, it's almost like, I'm going to say we tried to uninvite someone from their own party. Like, we showed up to Oklahoma's party, and it was the college football playoff party, and it's almost like we forgot about the host. And I know they still have work to do, but, like, how dare us write off this team that was never out of it? It felt like they were out of it, but never out of it. Now they sit here at 8-2. You got Mizzou. You got LSU. You win those 2, you're in. And Bear, Oklahoma, give them credit. Champions of the state of Alabama yet again, because it is back-to-back seasons. They have beaten both Auburn and Alabama. What a win for Brent Venables and company, dude.
Everyone has one problem in the SEC, and for Alabama, it's Oklahoma. It is. And this, again, Chris, this isn't just it's a Kalen DeBoer and Brett. They had struggles with them in every year outside of the one playoff game against Kyler Murray. Oklahoma's beaten Alabama. They just have. That's just the bottom line. They always do. Everyone has a problem in the SEC. Texas has a problem with Georgia. Georgia has a problem with Alabama. Well, guess who has a problem with Oklahoma? Alabama. And that was clear as day. Here's what I took away. A team like Oklahoma, you have got to beat them in two major facets. Just two. And if you lose both, you lose the football game. One is the turnover margin. You cannot give opportunities to anyone on that defense to create plays and win one-on-one battles. You can't. You lost that one. You can't lose special teams. You can't. You lost two special teams. It's not even the Connor Talty kick, which we can talk about in a second.
I didn't even want to bring it up to you, honestly. Like, it just Alabama and kickers missing kicks, and you got your kicker bitching out your long snapper and your holder, and it's like, dude, he got it down. Make it.
Everyone's talking about the Ween being able to jump on over the play. Guys, I'm going to be completely honest. That ball hit off his finger. It still was going too far left. It wasn't going in. It wasn't. He was never making that kick, even if it was ricocheted just enough. But also, you had the fumble on punt return. I mean, you had the fumble on the punt return. And guess what happened? They capitalized, and they got a touchdown off of John Mateer. Tate Sandell, the lucky leg of the House on the Prairie. Phenomenal performance once again from, in my opinion, the MVP of the season out in
He didn't go back to the short shorts, by the way.
It doesn't matter. He could have worn
more normal
size. He could have worn booty shorts, and it still would have been for 55 yards, and everyone in Oklahoma would have loved him.
He's got a boot.
He would have been the king of the Palace of the Prairie. Oklahoma did just enough offensively to put themselves in a position to give the defense time to catch its breath and then get back out there and put Alabama in a blender of concerns. And Alabama, this is what you got to know at this point. And this is me telling you as a Bama grad. I'm not going to be one of these people who say, oh, because if I went to the school, I'm going to show it more appreciation and use the word we. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to tell you is the hard reality. You cannot be a one-dimensional team and think that you are winning a national championship, and you are a one-dimensional team. Credit, you finally said, hey, Daniel Hill's our best running back. We got to get the ball to him more. We got to get him more involved in the run game, and Jam Miller's got to be able to be the back burner. And outside of the fourth quarter, that was the game plan. But you have been a one-dimensional offense most of the year, and you said, Ty, you got to go win this one. You did in one area. I told you, tell me who has the better stat line, Josh Cuevas or Jaron Kanik. Guess who had the better stat line? Cuevas. He was awesome. But it didn't matter because if you shot yourself in the foot on too many occasions to not be able to close the door. And Oklahoma did not have those mistakes. It was a masterclass of being able to live off of the bare minimum. You know when you're very broke? You know when you're in a position of where you're trying to go ahead and save some money, so you decide on how can I go ahead and use this to build together a 5-course meal. Great value shopping. Like for me personally, I was somebody that loved when I was in college living off of ramen noodles and then putting some stuff in it. I became a guru on making gourmet ramen noodles out of nothing because that's how you live. Oklahoma showed you how to live with a mundane offense, a limited rushing attack, a few explosive plays, and just enough to get the ball into the leg of your kicker and back to your defense. That's what you have. And a lot of credit goes, I think, into Brent Venables. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about what last season meant for a guy in Clark Lee, saying, if I'm going to go down with my team, I'm going to call the defensive plays. We have not done that enough for what it comes to Brent Venables when Zach Alley decided to go to West Virginia. He said, if this is going to be my last year there, I'm going to go out with my defense. And his defense has been freaking elite. It's the best defense in the SEC when it's playing up the par, bar none. It's the best defensive line in the country. They put quarterbacks in a position to where you have to make mistakes and you got to play perfect if you don't want to lose. You didn't play perfect. You were one-dimensional. Oklahoma owned you. And Oklahoma earned that win. And Oklahoma's 8 quarters away from going to the college football playoff. And you can't argue with it. Because you want to know what? They may have 3 of the most impressive wins in college football right now. They certainly have 2. They may have 3. Depending on how you think about that team.
I think, Bear, and we're about to talk about the Texas Longhorns, but I almost feel like you don't want to leave it in the hands of the committee, but man, I'm still kind of sitting here like, man, I don't think it's crazy to say that I feel like a 9-3 Oklahoma you can make a case for. I mean, really, truly. Like, I don't know if that's a stretch, but they've had some impressive wins. They really have, like you said. They've had some really impressive. You don't want to leave it in the hands of the committee, but
just real fast before we move on, because I know that we got to keep moving. But for Alabama, let me be the first to tell you, shut up. Like, quite literally, shut up. Kalen DeBoer is a fine coach. He's 7-0 against some of the best names in the industry, and the offense has been derailing for the last 3 weeks. They were eventually going to get got.
Yeah.
Here's the good news. You didn't lose another game in the process to where now all you have to do is win on out. You have to go to Jordan Hare. I know the Voodoo Shaman man has not made his yearly appearance yet, and there's not a game where he's going to make his yearly appearance until this one. But you're better than Auburn. Show it. Don't leave it up to fate. Show that you are the more complete team. Because that's all it is. Because I sure as hell will tell you, if you think that Kalen DeBoer deserves to be fired, send him to Penn State. Watch him win a national title there. Send him to Florida. Watch him win a national title there. And you're going to continuously be the reason why you guys can't meet your own expectations, because if you will not let the process of how a rebuilding culture identity of a team allows it to happen. You're still in the playoff. Like, you're number 10 in the AP poll. You're going to be what, 9? 9? You could still go to the SEC championship game, and you're acting like, holy crap, this guy is the single worst thing. Fire him, fire Grubb, fire Sheridan, fire Courtney Morgan. We suck. My God, it is beyond exhausting sometimes dealing with you idiots. And I gladly will say that as one of the idiots. Enough is a fucking enough. Grow up. You lost a football game to a team that you constantly lose to. You lost to Trevor freaking Knight when you had Nick Saban as your head coach. Enough is enough. You lose to this team. Win your next 8 quarters, you're in the playoff, and you may even be hosting a playoff game. I've had it with this whole Kalen DeBoer suck shit. It's beyond disgustingly annoying.
Yeah, this is the positive. I mean, you went out. You might be hosting. And I agree with you from this standpoint too. You weren't going undefeated in SEC play. You just weren't. You were gonna drop one. I mean, I think losing at home probably really stings. But again, Oklahoma's no slouch. And I mean, listen, you did things that, I mean, to defend Kalen, and I was hard on Kalen DeBoer after that week 1. But I mean, Kalen DeBoer didn't make Ryan Williams fumble. You know, I mean, Kalen DeBoer didn't make Ty Simpson fumble or telegraph the pass to the guy for the pick six. What is he supposed to do there? I mean, I don't know how you
give up that fumble. He didn't. Yeah. He wasn't the one who wasn't blocking any other name besides R. Mason Thomas. He wasn't on the offensive line on Saturday. Wasn't him. He dialed up good plays. Him and Ryan Grubb had some good moments. And also, let me just make it clear. Kane Womack is the reason why this was a game. Kane Womack, once again, you give him his flowers, because if he freaking called a beautiful game plan, and unfortunately your offense couldn't deliver on its side of the bargain. That's it. Enough. Like, enough. They scored what? They scored 17 points. They scored 23 total points, and they scored 14 on offense. I mean, come on, man. Like, enough's enough. Stop.
My Bama friends won't love to hear me say this, but I will say Alabama's playoff hopes on the line in Jordan Hare, just like the good Lord intended. I'm not mad about that. I got to be totally honest with you, Bear. From the dramatic standpoint, I know Bama fans are going to be. They've already started to sweat just thinking about it. And for Oklahoma, again, huge step in the right direction towards punching their ticket to the playoff. Bear, let's go to the game that took place in Athens, Georgia. Again, a little bit delayed getting into this one because, well, Georgia poured it on late. This game was 14-10 going into the fourth quarter, and the Dogs just never looked back. Again, it was a really competitive game and a good game, about 3 quarters, maybe 3.5, but Georgia pulls away there. Gunnar Stockton yet again is incredible. Dogs couldn't really run. I mean, they ran for 128 yards, not bad. But I thought in this game early, struggled to run the football. A huge difference in this game, too. Georgia stayed stingy with it. Texas abandoned it. Texas ends up running for 23 yards in the game. It's the same song and dance as last year when you held Texas to 55 carries for 60 yards in 2 games. 1.4 yards per carry in this one. I mean, what did we talk about coming in? You got to be able to get to like that 3 yard per carry mark. How about 2.5? Can we get to 2.5? Couldn't get a 2.5. And you actually started hot on the ground early, which is the craziest part. And you abandoned the run game. There was a lot of frustration, obviously, I saw with Texas fans. I mean, Arch Manning, 27 of 43, 251, had a touchdown in the game, also had that interception. I mean, I think the overthrows were a little bit frustrating at times. Some guys that he missed that I think he had some opportunities to link up with. But Bear, Gunnar Stockton, my goodness, 229, 4 touchdowns, a pick. He also ran and he accounted for every single touchdown in the game. And I referred to it earlier. I didn't mean to pull this out of my deck of cards quite yet when I was talking about it. But when I talked about sweet shit, so it's funny. Gunnar Stockton's a guy, I don't know if you knew this, Bear, but like off the field, nicest dude in the world. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Oh, yeah.
And my buddies around Georgia, they tell me, they're like, yeah, they think Gunner's like all sweet shit. But once his feet hit the grass, he's a different animal, dude. Like, he flips a switch. He you don't want to see him. He turns into that kind of guy, and it's scary because he's getting better and better and better and better. He is light years better than he was in week 1. I thought Mike Bobo called a masterful game in this ball game. Like I said, they stayed stingy with the run game, and you saw it in the fourth quarter, Bear. Georgia started to lean on Texas and impose their will. And again, I wasn't at this game. I was in Oxford. I had somebody who was there tell me, he said, I saw something from Texas I didn't think I'd ever see. A lot of hands on hips, and you don't want to use that Q word, but it felt like Texas quit a little bit there at the end of the game. It felt like they just went into submission because they didn't have a choice. So maybe quit's too strong. Georgia imposed their will. Like you said, everybody in this league's got their problem team or their problem coach or just their problem. Well, Texas, Georgia's your problem. You have a Georgia problem. Now, the positive in this is this. You're not a bad program. You're not a bad team. But you very clearly see this is where we are. This is where we want to go. This is what we got to do to get there. Georgia's showing you they are putting a spotlight on your deficiencies. You were able to bounce back and, be in a position at this point in the season where playoffs was even a conversation. But realistically, Bear, they were who they were the entire season. They were soft up front. They couldn't run the ball. It puts too much of the pressure on Arch Manning. Elite defensively, but on that side of the football offensively, and again, I know Texas folks are super, super frustrated, and I get it, but you're just not quite there yet. You're just not quite there yet, especially up front. And Bear, all due respect to Texas A&M, Georgia's the best team in the SEC. I'm very ready to say that. Georgia is the best team in this conference.
Georgia is hitting its stride at the right time to where they could easily win the national championship and nobody should be shocked. Not even a little bit. The second half adjustments that we constantly see from Kirby Smart, they hit a new high going into that fourth quarter. You talk about how they leaned on them. You could see on the broadcast. Defensively, yeah, Texas has been elite in the front seven. They have been at times iffy at best in the back end. It wasn't even iffy. They just were exhausted, broken, beaten down. They couldn't catch a breath to save their life. It's funny. Earlier this year, there was a graphic made that said 5 incompletions, 5 touchdowns for Gunnar Stockton. That usually happens once. It's happened twice now. Gunnar Stockton needs to be in the Heisman Trophy conversation. I don't care. I don't care what you want to say about his numbers or if he hasn't done this, if he hasn't done that. They are winning because of him offensively. They're just winning because of he is playing lights out. He has been better than advertised, and he is just a perfect identity of what fits for Georgia's culture, and it showed once again on Saturday. Offensively, you're hitting your stride when it comes to pass protection. Defensively, you're still not rushing the quarterback at an elite level, but you're getting better and better. You want to know what this reminds me of? This reminds me so much of Ohio State going into that matchup against Tennessee in the college football playoff. After they beat Tennessee, beat the brakes off it. It wasn't even a game. And everyone's like, oh shit, they can actually win the national championship. That's the way Georgia's playing right now. Georgia is getting enough momentum to be able to say, as long as we don't screw this up for us, as long as we're not the problem, we are going to win every single game from here on out. And they're, in my opinion, have a very good shot of winning every single game from here on out, going to Miami, winning a national title, Kirby getting his third, and lo and behold, showing how they run the SEC in the new post-Nick Saban era. On to Texas. I can blame a lot of things on Arch Manning. I won't, because Arch Manning did give up 21 points in the final 15 minutes. The defense did. There were many drop passes. Ryan Wingo, what the hell was that? Emmett Mosley, what the hell was that? There were some overshot throws, but it felt like, once again, you put everything currently onto the pedal of Arch to have to be the guy. And that's not what works. What works is when you have a good ability to trust your run game. What works is when your pass protection is at least potent. What works is when you trust that you can go ahead and be more decisive with your play design and run more 11 personnel. And that's not what happened. It's like everything that we had seen that was good over the last 7 quarters for Texas's offense, Steve Sarkisian went back to doing what he was doing beforehand, and why everyone was getting frustrated and say, you no longer need to be the play caller. But defensively, Pete Kiewatowski, you called a horrendous game plan. It was disgusting in the set. So much prevent. And the only thing you were preventing was your offense getting enough time to be able to breathe and get on the field. That was the only thing that you were preventing at that standpoint. Countless errors from missed assignments, bad tackling in the open field. And that's where you grab the face mask of a kid and go, get the hell off of my field and put it in your backup sim. But they're not developed good enough to be able to go ahead and make a difference in this game. It was abundantly clear that Kirby Smart outcoached, outclassed, and outworked Steve Sarkisian in this game. There's no other way to put it. And Georgia solely showed why they are, in my opinion, just like you, the best team in the SEC. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens in Atlanta in 2 weeks. But they're done. I mean, their season's over in the SEC. They 7-1. Got to feel pretty good about where you stand about getting either a home playoff game at best. I mean, at worst, at best, getting a first-round bye and being a top 2 seed. Because I agree with you. If we're taking just resumes out the window and just looking at pure on-field the last 8 quarters, Georgia's a better team than Texas A&M.
Bear, 2 things when we get off this game. Number one, the quote that Kirby Smart had after the game, quote, we build our core culture around being the more physical team. A lot of these kids nowadays want to check. They don't want physicality. You're not just getting checks at our place. We're hitting people, end quote. Yeah. My God, find me a brick wall. My God, find me. That is just Kirby Smart to a T. And then I just wanted to piggyback off your Gunnar Stockton for Heisman, because I agree with you. This comes via our friend on social media, John Tweet Sports, does a great job covering the dogs. Gunnar Stockton versus top 10 teams. 63 of 80. That is a 79% completion percentage. 63 for 80 for 648 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick. Against top 10 teams. Enough said.
Oh, by the way, before we do move on, for the Texas fans out there wondering, can you get in the playoffs? No, you can't. You can't. And it's not even as a 9-3 team with the win over Texas A&M. If you would have lost close to this, there's at least an opportunity to make a case in the college football playoff committee's eyes. You lost by 27 and 24. You ain't going. You can't crap the bed like that on national television and then get a lot of good graces. You can't. Yeah,
I know our guy David Pollock said he thought that if Texas beat Georgia or A&M went 9-3, they're in. Yeah, I think how you lose matters. I don't think walking out of there with that score and that result, even if you beat A&M, I don't think you've got a strong enough case. I really don't. I really don't. And maybe you shouldn't have in the first place. Maybe it's for the better that it happened, but I don't see it.
Yeah, just don't lose to Florida, guys. Maybe you should just do that. Then we don't even have this problem.
That's honestly, Bear, that's the valid take. That is the take, to be honest with you. Bear, let's close out here with these last 2 games really quickly. I know we got to wrap it up here. LSU beats Arkansas 23-22. Mizzou beats Mississippi State 49-27. Hogs, just listen, bad teams find ways to lose games. The battle for the Golden Boot stays home in Baton Rouge. Meanwhile, Ahmad Hardy just a cool 300 yards rushing. And I think the conversations around Coleman, Hutzler, and Starkville should probably fire back up. I've seen those already from folks. I don't blame you at all. 49 points. Bear, I took the under in this game, and it was like 49.5, and Mizzou hit that themselves. So thoughts on these two games? I don't want to call them afterthoughts, but two of the underrated games in the day, Mizzou and LSU getting the dubs.
Congratulations to Frank Wilson on getting a win as the interim head coach. You are all about Louisiana. You love Louisiana. For you to be able to get this team to bowl eligibility, I think speaks incredible volume about your place on the next year's staff. Hopefully you're brought back in. Michael Van Buren, I don't think is ready to be a full-time starter, but he made some good throws to where maybe you at least have a conversation of what's going to be the plan going in with the next regime. Do you believe that there are things that he can work on? Does he fit your system? A lot to like, a lot to hate. This is more so just on the incompetence of what we have seen from Arkansas this year, the self-inflicted wounds, I got to quit, man. I do. I got to quit that 2 a.m. cigarette because I can't keep pretending that this is the last one. This one has to be the last one. Yeah,
165 yards passing, 2 picks for Taylor Green.
And one of them was inside the red zone at the goal line. You can't have it have a game with Mansour to Lane and then say, yep, we're good. The Missouri game. I think Mississippi State still has a lot of momentum, and there are things that you can build upon, which, again, we said if you're going to be a 5-7, 4-8 team, just make sure that you show growth, and you have, and you got to win in SEC play. But you're a very flawed team, and it was evident based off of the mental mistakes, the bad interceptions, the pick 6 by Toriano Pride. Just not an overall great day offensively for Mississippi State. The run defense, once again, of Missouri showed on up. It proves why they have one of the best defensive lines in the country. And I'll just be the first to say it. Everyone in the country, you done messed up on Ahmad Hardy. Whoever was in charge of your scouting of running backs this offseason, fire them. I'm not even joking. Quite literally, every single program needs to fire its running backs scout team coordinator unless it's Kewan Lacy down in Ole Miss. Because he far and away is the best running back in the SEC, if not the best running back in college football. He plays with physicality. He plays with finesse. He does not miss holes. He constantly is winning his one-on-one battles. And every opportunity that Missouri says, hey, we need 29 to do something. Guess who does? 29. Cool 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 9 runs of over 15 yards downfield, 7 runs of over 20 yards downfield, and a 300-yard record-setting performance currently leads all of college football in rushing yards. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make something abundantly clear. Your All-American list, if it does not have Ahmad Hardy on there, you are wrong. If your All-SEC list does not have Ahmad Hardy on there, because of, let's just say Mizzou went 8-4, you simply are wrong. He has a better case, in my opinion, to win the Doak Walker and the Offensive Player of the Year than any other player currently in college football. And you know what? He's freaking earned it because he took that team and he said, I don't care that we can't pass the football. I'm going to get the job done.
Well said, Bear. Well said. This is an Ahmad Hardy show right here. We want you to know that. It's an Ahmad Hardy show. Bear, last two before we get to our Atta-boys, our overreactions, and we wrap it up. Just really quickly, Tennessee beats New Mexico State. Ho-hum, no big deal, 42-9. They've got a big game upcoming against Florida in the Swamp, most notably. And I got to mention this one, Bear. Kentucky. How about it? They took care of their business against Tennessee Tech, 42-10. All of a sudden, this game in Nashville, very, very interesting. Don't think, Vandy, it's just, we got to beat Tennessee and we're in the playoff. You better not sleep on Kentucky because all of a sudden, Bear, Kentucky's one of the hottest teams in the league. And I never thought I'd be saying that. So
yeah. Tennessee game was really interesting. Like, don't look at the stat sheet because the stat sheet is kind of lying to you that this should have been closer than expected of the 42-9. Both teams had 2 turnovers. Neither team was really exceptional on third down. Actually, New Mexico State was pretty good at 8 of 19. New Mexico State had 340 yards of offense to Tennessee's 413. They outthrew them by nearly 100 yards. Really, the difference was that one team could run the football and the other team couldn't. And ultimately, that's where you kind of saw the separation with Deshaun Bishop, Star Thomas, Peyton Lewis, Joey Aguilar, 4 rushing touchdowns on the day, 2 really bad interceptions. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Tennessee's looking ahead to finally ending the streak of beating Florida in the swamp, and that's why this game was probably a little bit sloppy, but not a good game plan. Also, Boo Carter, no longer with the Tennessee football program, is officially entering the transfer portal.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting to see how do Tennessee fans feel about that, because if they're one of these things where they're like, hey, Heupel, we can't lose this type of talent, and Heupel says, no, we can. He's bad for our locker room. And they say, no, we want him here. It's another thing of pushing back against the guy that's led you to a 10-win season and a college football playoff berth because you don't like the way he does things. It's a way to push him out the door. It's a way to do it. Kentucky, I'm going to be completely honest. I did not watch a single second of this game because I was too busy watching every other game. But you're 1 win away from bowl eligibility. And Louisville does not look as potent as they once did. So even if you don't beat Vanderbilt, you still have an opportunity to at least beat Louisville and go to a bowl game.
Just reading up there on the Boo Carter thing, I didn't even realize this. They actually dismissed him.
Yeah,
no longer. Now he's entering the portal. Really quickly on this, I'm not surprised. There was just so much stuff with Boo Carter. He was the one that was like talking about Colorado over the summer, right? I think he was inexplicably like missing from workouts or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it just, you hate to see it, a guy not be able to make the right decisions and have the right head on his shoulders. But I mean, I can't blame Tennessee for this. I mean, the guy sounds like he was more of a headache than he was worth. So interesting to see where he lands. But I think Tennessee fans will be more pissed at the kid than they will Heupel in any way. We'll see though. Bear, that being said, let's hand out some attaboys. Let's give some overreactions. I'll give you 3 quick overreactions. Number 1, fire Shane Beamer. Number 2, Georgia's the best team in the SEC and very well could win the national championship. Number 2, Cutter Boley, who I believe, let me double check. Yes, is a freshman. Cutter Boley is going to be an all-conference quarterback next year. I'm telling you, momentum, baby. He's turned it on. He's turned it on.
You say you had a third.
Yeah, that was it. Fire
okay.
Shane Beamer, Georgia, and then Cutter Boley.
Georgia's going to win the national championship, number 1. The way they're playing right now, just beyond belief. I don't see anybody stopping them besides themselves. Number 2, if the Doak Walker Award does not go to Ahmad Hardy or Kewan Lacy, then the award just needs to be named. Let's give it to the shiny metal helmet of a team that currently is in the college football playoff. And even still, we're going to give it to a guy that we just haven't talked about all offseason. It's very similar to when Marvin Harrison Jr. got the Biletnikoff Award. Thought he was a very solid receiver. Did not think he was the best receiver in college football the season that he won it. Just give it to the best player, and those two, in my opinion, have been as advertised, if not better than Jeremiah Love at times. So one of them should win the Doak Walker Award. And finally, Alabama. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You're not winning the national championship this year, but you're also not upgrading off of Kalen DeBoer. So if you want to fire him, watch as your program goes back to the Mike Price days. And what's really going to be interesting, and I'm going to talk to most people out there that got to hear this. Most Alabama, when we heard Brian Kelly say, you know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. No, Alabama fans, you're spoiled. Because you don't remember the dark days when Bear Bryant and when Nick Saban and even when Gene Stallings for a little bit were there. You do not remember how daunting it was to remember going 6-6 and 7-5 and losing to teams on the regular. Keep your attitude up and say how we should fire these people for losing one conference game. Welcome back to that reality. Welcome back to being yet another run-of-the-mill team in the SEC. And I can't wait to see how many of you truly are actually Alabama fans. I can't wait to see how many of you truly are believing in the Crimson and White and still want to go to game days on Saturday when you have insert random G5 coach here because that's what you think should be the standard because he's going to do things our way.
You want to get in these attaboys, Bear? Yeah. Attaboys, I'll be real quick with this. I think Kewan, Lacy, number 1, attaboy, record setter at Ole Miss. Dude's an absolute freak. And then all the people off the field in Oxford. Yeah, shout out to y'all, man. Built Different Fitness. Jamarian over with Ole Miss softball. Kelsey for Reese. Atta-girl Kelsey for everything. Reed over at the library for helping make it happen. Attaboy to Reed. Really appreciated all the folks that worked at the library that were really cool to us. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, yeah. Jared over at the Velvet Ditch.
Sierra
as well. Atta girl for coming out. The people I sat around at the game, because I actually sat solo at the game, but made friends obviously very, very quickly. So shout out to them. Again, it's Mark and Melissa over at Built Different Fitness, by the way. Mark and Melissa Swanson. So shout out to them. Check them out. Yeah, everybody in Oxford, thank you all so much, man. It was a great, great weekend. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, if the Rebels have a home playoff game, might see us back there pretty soon. So I wouldn't complain about it.
Attaboy to Ahmad Hardy, quite literally putting your team on your back and honestly changing the way that I think that we're going to view the matchup next week against Oklahoma. Because if you may not go to the college football playoff, but you sure as hell can spoil Oklahoma's opportunity to go there, especially if you can keep this running momentum, to be able to know that your offense was missing a spark in the passing game and said, I don't care, I'll be able to deliver. Attaboy to you, man. You have proven once and time again, you are, in my opinion, the best running back in the country, and you single-handedly beat Mississippi State. You did that. You did that. Also, again, Kewan, Lacy, you single-handedly put belt to ass Florida. But Brent Venables is my other attaboy. This is a guy that so many people consistently have called him a good coordinator, not a good head coach. Good coordinator, not a good head coach. If he doesn't get to X, Y, and Z, he deserves to be fired because we have standards at Oklahoma. Guys, he is exceeding these standards at Oklahoma this year. And it shows you that while, yes, there are some limitations, it feels more and more so like last year, first season in the SEC was the outlier. This is more so the standard underneath him. And to get signature wins like he had on Saturday, to keep playoff hopes alive, to once again, a masterclass on the side of the football that a lot of people say, I'm going to call plays, and they struggle with. You master it. Attaboy to you, Brent Venables. You have done phenomenal these past 2 weeks, and you're 8 quarters away from earning your place in the college football playoff, and nobody can argue with that.
Bear, that being said, let's go ahead and put a pin in it. Again, another successful Sunday, week 12, an incredible weekend. Want to highlight this super chat, by the way. Dealing with Dylan, $1.99. Thank you, sir. UK for snapping the longest win streak in D1 football. Did you know that? Yeah. I didn't know that. Tennessee Tech.
Yep.
How about it? Attaboy to Kentucky. Again, these are words I just admittedly did not think I would utter this season, but here we are. Expect the unexpected. Again, we appreciate each and every single one of you guys. It's always a pleasure. Before we get out of here, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, guys. It's NBA tip-off week. FanDuel is your home for live betting. Even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel's got live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join, because FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to sign up today. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Also brought to you by our friends over at Brunt Workwear. Quick shout out to them, guys. You probably saw, by the way, when I was in Tuscaloosa, I wore these on game day. Most comfortable boot I have ever worn. And whether you're at the game, you're going fishing, you're going hunting, you're going tailgating, you're going, hey, it's ski season's right around the corner, you're going hiking, whatever it is, you're on the job site, of course. Brunt Workwear, the way they go, they got soft toe, they got hard toe, they got whatever you need. They're really sleek and stylish, too, so you can just wear them out, wear them around. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up, so they built something better, boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. So for a limited time, our listeners get $10 off at Brunt when you use promo code SECU at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use code SECU, you're good to go. And after you order, they're going to ask where you heard about Brunt. Make sure you tell them Cole the Bear Thompson and Chris Phillips over at SEC Unfiltered. Once again, shout out our friends over at Brunt Workwear. Again, I can't say enough good things about them. I literally wore them to a game myself. And folks, I wouldn't just do that to do that. They really are the best boots in the game. That being said, we're going to wrap it up. Week 12, what a week. Week 13, you're on deck. You got a lot to live up to. Don't call it a cupcake Saturday. Don't sleep on it. We only got 2 more of these left together, by the way. Let's all take it in together. By the way, SEC Unfiltered Tour, we'll see you in Austin, Texas for the Texas-Arkansas game. Really excited to get down there with Hook'em. I know the vibes are kind of low right now, but that's okay. We're going to bring them up. We're going to have a hell of a time because you know what? You might not be going to the college football playoff, but damn it, we're going to 6th Street. Either way, we're going to 6th. So y'all have a great rest of your night. Really appreciate y'all. Once again, Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. Y'all already know the drill. Like and subscribe. Check us out where you get your podcasts, all across favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. I'm Chris Phillips. This is the Overtime Drive. Y'all take care. Have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you all on the other side. Cheers.